Hello everyone and welcome to Rob's Rogues, and today we are taking a look at Catwoman and we're going back to the Legends of Batman. Here's her little card from Kenner. And this is a comic book accurate Catwoman of what she looked back in 1994. Pardon me. I do have my DCUC or Batman Legacy Catwoman to give you a size comparison here real quick. As you can see, the size that we are dealing with, it's just right around the 4.5 to 5 inch scale, as these figures are right around, or just a little over 6 inch. I do have her standing on a DCUC base there, as the table's a little uneasy, and of course, in this time frame from Kenner, they were starting to get into pre-posed action figures, as you know, they already have them in a stance, so some of them are crouched down a little bit, which may tend to make the figures look a little bit shorter than they normally are supposed to. So getting her in a car or a Batmobile, if you have one, is a really weird feat because she doesn't sit exactly normal. One leg does go up higher than the other one does. Her head is supposed to, she's a little dusty here, I apologize for that. She's supposed to have articulation in the head. It does turn, it's on a little swivel joint here like it normally is, but her hair is sculpted as such that it doesn't move. So she can't turn left or right, look up or down. If you cut the hair off, then her head could do a full 360. So that's a little weird that they didn't sculpt the hair as such so you could at least turn it or make it a little more pliable. But this is how she looked in 1994. If you were following the Batman Nightfall saga, then this is how Catwoman appeared in the comics at that time. This was the very first, I shouldn't say very first, because I do have another Catwoman, the Batman Returns, but one of the very first Catwomans that I owned that was a normal comic book accurate. So by me saying this is the very first Catwoman that looked normal, if I wanted to have a, you know, a rogues gallery of what the actual villains look like, this is the Catwoman that I had posed for quite a bit with some of my other Batman action figures, as this is how she was depicted in 1994, which seems so long ago. She did this Legends of Batman Catwoman, she, I believe, was the one that had the most accessories. She came with a nice long rubber whip, rubbery plastic that just sits right into her hand. And after digging some of these figures out, some figures like this one that didn't come with the whip, guess who's going to get this whip now? It's going to be this Catwoman. But she came with a very long whip, so you could, it's very pliable, so you could wrap it around your Batman if you had it, or wrap it around Catwoman if you wanted to, kind of recreate the Michelle Pfeiffer look there. So this whip was always a very cool accessory that I had posed with her on the shelf. She also came with this net that you could drape over your action figure and get them caught, and these little tiny plastic pieces were to weigh down the figure, so the net did have a little bit of a form to it. So if I pull the Bane that we just recently reviewed, you could have him caught in it, or Batman or Robin or whomever that you had. But the net's a nice little accessory. And the other cool one, I always thought, were the you don't see them anymore too much, but were the ropes and pulleys. And so the gimmick with this figure, if I can get this to work properly, could have it hooked there, and then the top of my display, if you can kind of see this, maybe, hope I can catch this on camera as I'm not right in front of it, but she can go straight down, or you can pull her up through here. You can kind of get the rope going through her hand, maybe, to make it like she's pulling herself up, but you know, there's that motion. Take it down so I don't pull down the back of my little display base here. So I thought this was a really really good Catwoman. So I've got the rope all tangled up. Apologize for that. And I noticed the card here, and I didn't read the card, so we'll get her reposed back up here. And we'll take a look at her card. Nice artwork and depicting there's the rope and all that good stuff. So we'll turn the light off here to get a better read of the card. And we won't read this top portion. If you want to read this again for yourself, you can just go back to the Batman review. But the big reason for the card here says Catwoman, aka Selina Kyle, has crossed Batman's path many times, both as an enemy and as an uneasy ally. This most daring Gotham City cat burglar does her best to outwit both good and evil. With an agile body, she climbs buildings to enact her crimes. With a crack of her whip, she greets her frantic net-captured victims. So there's the little read-up on that, of course, 1994 Skybox, and from our good friends at Kenner. I'm kind of curious at what point Kenner lost or gave up their licensing that Mattel bought them from. Maybe somebody knows. I can put it down here. Again, I will have a link for the box art if you'd like to see that. It'll be down in the description. But again, I thought this was a nice looking Catwoman as I blind her here. I think I really got in close to her face. A nice likeness to Selina Kyle. It's kind of interesting going back and look at some of these older figures at the norm, if you will, for what action figures were and kind of the, you know, for granted that we take for some of the DCUC figures. Even now, some of us say, oh, I wish they had a little bit more articulation. Some of these figures had zero to little articulation whatsoever. So I really kind of look at some of the DCUC figures that have a limited articulation, and I think I'm really glad that most of their legs can bend pretty normally. We can get them in poses like this, or we can just have them stand normal. But some of these figures came pre-posed, and that's just how they are. And I have some that you'll see in this review that are crouched really low that actually make them look shorter than what they are supposed to be normally. So hopefully you've enjoyed this. Today we've been taking a look at the Legends of Batman Catwoman from Kenner. And as always, this is Rob for Rob's Rogues signing off and saying we will see you guys next time.